Hello and good morning. It is Friday, the 12th day of April 2019. I actually had to look at the bottom right of my computer because I had to today. All bets, trades of the like, that's within each his own risk and their own reward. Happy birthday to approximately 0.3% of the people on the planet today. Don't know why I said that, just happened to. It's not my birthday today, nor is it close. However, we have gold to start off with. We'll move into silver, the stock market, S&P 500, and then transition into Bitcoin. NLC2 I'm going to talk about today because I just happened to go into their fantasy site today with good news, at least for me. And let's get started. All right, so within that of gold, we can see we had, after several days higher, three actually. Yesterday, giving basically all of it back, all 3 days up, down in one day. Today's session, just hanging in there, not really doing anything. So it's still in that situation, trying to hold on to this level of support and the lower highs along the way. Where via that on the monthly term time frame, we have this major Fibonacci level, which has been huge resistance. Right now, holding very firmly and nicely within the this 18 average of highs. Now I got a couple of these Fibonacci lines. I'm just going to remove them because key levels are just going to work out here. These two lines here represent the 61 and 38.2% from this low to this high. But this is easily reflected now within the 18 lows in that area where it really needs to high on that higher low. So that's going to be deleted. And this one here, which has been support 2 times hit, is a previous level. These are the things I always look for as it is anyway. So I'm just going to now just use these two. So yes, the 18 average of lows, if that comes in at that higher low, well, we'd just be making yet another one. And if there's a higher low and price action starts to move back up to around 13 low change, then the setup would continue to look even more fantastic. Meanwhile, within silver's Fibonacci and its monthly chart as well, it's resisting the 38.2% lower end from this low to this high. It is resisting from the 18 average of highs, which is declining. And the last time it resisted it was back in here in the close to the 17 mid range. And we're now at the 18 lows. We've had multiple hit, 1, 2, 3, even 4 in the area of low 14 change. That's $1 from here if there's going to be any further decline. And in viewing such on the daily term, there we can see from the last time on February 20th it hit that high of 16 low change. It's been lower highs. We have this one and then a matching low to this. Again, lower high so far. Now this is a 3x hit of this. Now how about this level of support? Well, that's where we just resisted from now. So this previous level of support has been resisted. And until we get any type of noticeable break above the 18, then there's no reason yet to think it's ready to happen. And when it does, watch out for that failed move. And this is where try to back in here from March the 20th through March the 25th. There really hasn't been much of a fast move lower, and there still could, but breaking down this level of support because of the amount of times that it is tested, especially have a down move here, a little bit of a green candle here in today's session, which is resulting, of course, in the hourly. Just letting the 18 average load up. There we go. There's your attempt after this move. It's finally having it to revert it. Either it does or it doesn't. But if it doesn't and starts to show weakness at 14 high change, around 50, breaking below 15, then I'd be seeing this move here as a failed breakout and probably showing the odds that we might have decent prices well below the 15 handle or closer to 14 than that of 15 in the near future. And like the S&P 500, the short-term movements, it's all yada. So for the silver metal, if prices become lower and I have an opportunity to buy cheaper, well, I'm probably going to take advantage of it. I don't trade the S&P or stock market in any form, but I will show it. And there we have on the hour time frame, we have what 7 per day, and then the gap move. Well, there wasn't much of a gap in between here. There's like 2 of them put together, as was the case here. But we can see several of them here, like 3 or so days. But well, there was a gap open right here, decent size from this low to this high. But today's session has had that big move breaking that level of resistance on the short term. Again, this is a single hour chart. This goes back to into the just before, right at the springtime. That's 3 weeks. On the daily chart, price action is noticeably above this. And like a lot of these rallies, going up, grinding its way up, continuing its move. Looking at the weekly chart, it's at a 3 times hit level of resistance for it came up here. Yeah, a little lower, but still in the general area on January 2018. And then the pullback, and then the great rally up to where it is now, and then this great pullback again from October 2018, ending Christmas Eve, right around Christmas of last year. Since then, it's been straight up. It could be building an inverted head and shoulders pattern if it goes down, and it can go down to like 257. That's a differential of like 40 points. That's about 15%, which is I almost started laughing there because that really isn't much in my view of things. I always talk about like in cryptos how doji isn't so volatile, and that's much more volatile than this. However, with that being said, that could be the way it is. Maybe it's only going to pull back in here, and if it breaks, it might just continue to keep grinding its way with continuous weeks, usually being green, as we can see here. We'll get this little pause week here, small little red pause one here. This wasn't even a down week, even though it was red. But really, this one here was a small down week and just grinding its way as it does in the stock market. They go down a lot faster than they go up. And that necessarily isn't the same case in the crypto market, at least with charts priced against Bitcoin more than anything. But even Bitcoin against the dollar, a lot of the up moves and down moves are kind of. I don't know if anyone's more. I think they go up and down about the same. I don't know. Yeah, in stocks, yeah, it's very common. Oh, it goes up for 4 years, then it gives up 4 years of gains in 1 year. Okay, it goes up for 4 months in the stock market. It gives up 4 months in 1 month. A lot of times with altcoins, you're going to see how coins go down in 6 months, and they give all of those losses, get all those losses back in like 1 month. And in the situation, so for Bitcoin, we have seen the magnificent break above this 4100 Fibonacci level, which was just like gold, one of those multiple hit resistance points, and then the big move, not finding resistance at 48 half. Rather, it found support for a couple of days and had a good gain, such a good gain that it went from 5500 and has been down to 49, and it still has only pierced above and majorly piercing above this level. Pretty much down to the 18 average of closes, not shown on this screen. Now, one of the charts I find very interesting for today's session is the 5-minute term time frame. And within it, it had a nice little rally, 6:25 in the morning, breaking out. This is New York City time. And I'm always trying to think of a quick city that's just something like Hershey, Pennsylvania time as well. Yeah, there we go. I've never been there. Hershey, that is. But within the move higher, we've had a come down to this 18 lows again in here. Small little breakout here, but not quite making it. So there was an attempt. Will this continue, or will this maintain a sideways move? If it does, areas of support I'm looking at, there's two right now. 5,063, and then in this area of around 5,072, which matches this and what might be in here. And it could even be like 5,069. It could still have a move come back to where it came from because it didn't do that on any of the attempts yet. So if that's the case, we're looking at 5,034. In viewing such upon the 15-minute time frame, if it's able to get out above this level of resistance, well, it's a big level of resistance. A little inverted head and shoulders-ish, kind of like. And again, it hasn't came back down to here. Still would be fine if it did so. In fact, that would make it more look like that because you talk about a dysfunctional left shoulder in here, which is basically everything from this point here at 5:30 timestamp to basically breaking it at around 1930. There's your head in here. And now it's trying to make it up to the neckline in here. So whether you count it, I guess in here, so there's this really dysfunctional head. And now this is the right shoulder, very low volatility. Regardless of how you look at it, it's the neckline that I'm focused upon. It's holding the move from point A low to where we currently stand with this play. having a higher low. The last one we've came in was a multiple hit one at 5,000 high change. So therefore, I would really like to see it around 5,038-ish or so, 5,000 and a quarter or higher. It's fine if it's going to be the 65 handle, but again, breaking out, seen at 51.15, holding and staying above for 55,088-ish or so for more than an hour and a half to 2 hours would bring mega high alert signs for what would look to be at least a move up to the 5200 into the area, high 52, I would think. Let me just even scroll back more. A 61.8% move. So 5200 change, whatever 61.8% from that high to that low would happen to be, which I'm going to calculate just because I know how to do it. You take the high, which is 5,488. We take a low of 4,901, 902 even, because it's 99 cents, which puts in key numbers at 51.18 and 52.56. And I've switched it off to the 1 hour mainly because I already changed I looked at a few different things and like, oh yeah, probably should have kept it where it was after pausing the tape. But 51.18 just is a pierce above where it stands right now. So therefore, because the low started here, it has made it surprisingly, and I really do mean this surprisingly, if of course it's going to be a top, that is, it's like $14 lower than it. If this move isn't over yet and we still see it go up to like in the 51.26 into this here, and it does a key little resistance top here, well, that would make more sense. And if there isn't resistance here, I would expect it to have a fast move again to this previous level in here, which would represent the 61.8 because of the fact that we've seen from this high, this was where it left the 18. It resisted it on its way down for this leg. It resisted it here for the next leg lower. It came up here, and this time, instead of resisting the lows, it managed to move up close to the highs, support the bottom end for quite some time, enough for the band to flatten out. And then when the rally occurred with what has been 3 sideways hours, that's enough to see this start to rise. Therefore, many periods above, it's either that rally attempt that's going to be a successful one, and we're going to hit these higher prices, 52 high change at least as its leg higher, or we're looking at that failed breakout continuation of what is point A high to whatever the point B low happens to be, and I would be thinking that it's going to be lower if this is that failed breakout, because that's often what's going to happen. You see it in a downtrend, tries to revert it, it fails within its move, and right now I'm going to look at this 18 lows in this area here, 5,000 low change. If it's failing there, then I'm going to expect there to be decent sized decline going further, or we would probably pierce below that 4,850 number. And to finish off BTC, let's do so on the weekly, which means it's after all of this up move here, where why didn't you resist it if this is a continuation downtrend? Because leg lower, okay, meet up with the band, we did. Okay, go lower price action. No, it didn't. It still may, of course, because same spot here. You attempt to revert the trend. If it's a failure, watch out for a leg lower from here, which we'll be talking about really in the low 2000s at least, I would think. 2200 would be my first conservative level. And now, if it does come back, then I'll be looking for that to be its next key level of support, stage number 3 in reversal of trend of 4. But maybe stage number 2, which is resistance established, isn't over yet. It's still live, meaning tops and bottoms known after the fact. If it breaks through that level and we have price action continuing further over this next 7-10 days without much decline, then it's just resisting or establishing it a little bit further, and it's more likely to come to an area of which was major previous level of support and bypass levels that were not levels of support on the way down. Okay, let's move on to LTC. On its weekly, it's above its 18 on It's move, and I don't got the Fibonacci's in here, but it's around like $60 and 125. So let's put in those Fibonacci numbers, as well as even showing more data on top of it as well. So therefore, the 18 highs has matched up with the previous level of key resistance and that fib mark. 18 lows on its way there as well on the next little bit. So either the same thing with Bitcoin. Either the lows for the short term are in and it's just keep continuing to work towards here, or it's going to have to attempt to have that level of support and a correctionary move. And now it's first such the correction from its leg higher, which was these 2 days, going from about 60 close to 100. Since the 100, it grinded its way back after a price intraday price correction over about 4 days, grinding its way lower, pausing a bit, and then the decent sized candle down move, 10.7% down yesterday. And to conclude on the 15-minute, just like Bitcoin showing a nice little possible setup, this resistance area between 78.82 and well, really 78.56, if not even a hair below that, 70, or excuse me, 79.56, but really 79.50 is big. But I like how the price did have a nice pierce above and it's holding and staying for several periods, like 8 or 9, which was resistance among here. Supporting this level area and all this type of stuff. It's corrected through time within the 18, first via the highs, now via the lows. Getting out above this and seeing, oh, we're at 81.40, holding above and staying above these resistance levels for a good period of time. That's what it's doing now. And that's why I like the probability odds that this thing is going to be ready to go for today's session, and at least just like Bitcoin for that 61.8. So $100 divided by low to the root of the so basically at least a move I would think to like the mid 80s should be in store for today. At least what's the probability odds? So we're talking like say 85 and a half. So we'll say a $6 increase. That replicates that of like an 8% move. So therefore, like a differential of like 73 to the downside, I think there's a better chance we go whatever that same mathematical number is down. There's a better chance I think it does reach it right now to the top end. But even a move like that, what that would resemble would be, okay, we have a situation coming up here. We've established this low. It could have been here and still can be, and that's fine for the correctionary phase from these rally moves. But if it does get above here, now you got the attempt to break it higher, resume the trend, and even getting up here, can you hold it? Can you have a small correction, a higher low pullback? It gives you optimistic release for these types of scenarios to take place. And let's now move on to altcoin, no limit coin, NLC2. But before we do that, let's talk about the word overlay, which is defined as covering the surface of something with the coating. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Or a quality of a feeling becoming more prominent than a previous quality or feeling. No, something laid as a covering over. No, nothing like that. Computing. The process of transferring a block of program code or other data into. No, that's not overlay for me. So let's do this search for fantasy overlay. An overlay will happen when the amount of cash prizes that a site is offering for a given contest exceeds money that has actually been put into the contest in the form of entry fees. When buy-ins equal or exceed the guarantee, there is no overlay. One site known for consistent overlays is fantasydraft.com as of April 26, 2015. So an overlay is when the buy-ins are less than such. Well, on the site, and I'll go to the chart in a bit here, do some technical analysis on that. Well, I see here, the one thing I wasn't happy about was this 50 game. I really like to support games even if it's below my stake level, but it becomes very, very, very difficult to do such. So even though there's overlay and there's probably only going to be about 70 people because the prize pool is 4,600, which means anything below 92 people would be considered that of an overlay. But now that I see the 200 game is in, Well, that's a bit better of stakes, and I could probably have five lineups, so therefore I could increase it to even 1,000 units. 100 people. I'm pretty excited about that for today. And NBA starting tomorrow, which is why I decided a few weeks ago to take a little break from it because before I was disappointed. All they had was the 50 game. But baseball stats, I let them evolve a bit. And it's been a bit. It's been a few weeks, 15, 16, whatever games. And insert the chart. So as I look at it from here, there was NBA games ending the season. I just didn't want to play the inconsistencies of the end of the season when I'm going to find out, oh, this player didn't play. I got no points for him. And, well, that's why I didn't want to play the last few days of the regular season. Baseball, well, just the stats come in. And, well, since they have the 200 chip game and they have the normal basketball starting tomorrow, I'll keep on playing now, hoping. But if there isn't, that's fine for the overlay. But if it gets so popular because all of a sudden people play and there's 100 people filling with an hour to spare, I wouldn't be surprised if 150 on the next day. But as far as this price is concerned, it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, a little up here, and then down. Whether it's going to go down further or not next, I don't know. But if it does go down further, I'll probably buy. If it goes up further, well, I'll probably sell. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.